Hey, this is Christian Buckley with Collab Talk, and I'm here with Jason and John, and we're talking about the SharePoint Conference North America. Guys, I know you've both been involved since the beginning of the planning process for this, so what's your involvement?
So I'm actually the track chair for the IT Pro content from the community side of things, working with Bill Bear around all of the IT Pro content and how all of that mashes up and seeing all the cool stuff that's being brought to the conference. And I also am doing a pre-con with that fella over there. I think he's on that side. I'm not sure which side your Zoom's on, but John and I are doing a pre-con, and it's not traditional SharePoint, but instead we're doing Power BI, and all of the really cool stuff that you can do with SharePoint and Power BI, and all of the reporting and dashboarding components therein, and bringing that to the conference.
It's funny, we're a couple of SharePoint guys from way back, and we're talking about business intelligence. That's not as crazy as it might sound. I've always been involved in the BI space with SharePoint. Got into Power BI a long time ago when we first heard the term Power BI, before it even is what it is now. And it's a pretty good thing, because most of the BI stuff from SharePoint has moved away from SharePoint. So we're there basically to explain what that means to the audience. So our all-day session on everything you want to know about Power BI, but we're afraid to ask, talks about Power BI, but in particular, it focuses in on SharePoint. And if you can't make that, if you can't make the all-day session, the SharePoint piece of it specifically has also been encapsulated into a 1-hour session. I'll be presenting that later on in the conference. I don't have to bribe my attendees to show up. I'm sure the room will be full. But
good point. Yes,
we ran that. It's a brand new session focusing in on SharePoint as a data source and as a platform. We ran it for the first time at the North American Collab Summit a couple of weeks ago, and it was really well attended and well received.
I'm doing a post-con as well on all of the cool hybrid technologies with some pretty amazing rock stars in the space: Bill Bear, Neil Hodgkinson, Spence Harbar, and somehow because I picked the session, I got to slip myself into it as well.
Funny how that works. You all the content, you add yourself.
It's a thing. But something I'm really excited about is we're actually going to be bringing something really special to our attendees. We're still working on the final bits and bobs of it, but don't tell anybody, Christian. I know you're good at keeping secrets.
That's right. I'll edit this part out. Yes.
Yeah. The attendees for our post-con workshop are actually going to get a limited time VM of SharePoint 2019.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, this is the first time I've talked about it publicly, but we're going to be starting to talk about that here shortly. It's going to be really, really cool. The first time people are actually going to get to lay hands if they're not in some of the programs that Microsoft has. It's the first time they're going to get their hands on 2019. In addition to all of that, John and I do a podcast together called Bifocal.
That's right.
And we will be recording live at the event. We're doing a live show.
Apparently, John wasn't aware that was happening.
I was aware. I'm not.
I don't always tell him everything. He just shows up and he's awesome. That's how it works the best. So like, hey, John, here's a microphone. Go.
but it's a great example of how the SharePoint community is extended, and these other topics that are part of the SharePoint story are essential to that. Going in and building centralized dashboards and having real time or this asynchronous view into data is an important part of your intranet strategy, and communicating the data out of what's happening within your organization. That is a core part of the planning. It's essential that we have these kinds of topics at a SharePoint event. Well, thanks a lot, guys. Go out to SharePointNA.com and find out more about the event, and we'll see you guys in Las Vegas.
See you in Vegas.